Hey guys, welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. I'm Ron Mackenzie LaFergie. Comic books are famous for their awesome fight scenes. The visuals can be amazing. And many a time we've enjoyed watching our favorite heroes put evil villains in their place, and sometimes other heroes. But some fights stand out from the rest. Sometimes it's because of the story around them, sometimes because the art is just too cool to get over. So grab your popcorn because it's time for the top 10 biggest superhero fights of all time. Number 10. Hulk vs. Wolverine. This fight may not be as cool as some others or even other fights between the two characters, but it was super significant since it was the first time we were introduced to Wolverine. In the Incredible Hulk number 181, we see the Hulk fighting a Wendigo when he's assaulted by Wolverine. The two fight and Wolverine finds that he can't really hurt the Hulk, so he bails. They fight a few times in the issue, with Wolverine eventually going off on his own, probably to drink too much and sulk about how hard it is to live so long. The Hulk and Wolverine have a bunch of really cool fights, especially their battle in Old Man Logan. As awesome as it would be to see Hulk vs. Wolverine on film, it's unlikely since each is owned by a different company. But a man can dream. Number 9. The Hulk vs. the Thing. This was a huge fight because it finally answered the question that had been asked countless times in the early years of Marvel. Who's stronger? The Hulk or the Thing? Well, the answer was a pretty resounding Hulk, which I'm sure is no surprise to you. It was a pretty cool fight nonetheless, spanning across two action-packed issues. It ended kind of anticlimactically with the Hulk being thrown into the water and turning back into Bruce Banner, but this fight was a huge moment in comics and one of my personal favorite classic fights. Number 8. Spider-Man vs. Green Goblin. Spider-Man and Green Goblin were two of the greatest rivals in comic history. They fought time and time again, with Spider-Man coming out on top. But after Green Goblin kills Spider-Man's girlfriend Gwen Stacy, Peter swears vengeance on Norman Osborn. The two fight and Peter has the opportunity to kill Osborn, but decides against it. However, Green Goblin surreptitiously calls his glider to him with the intention of impaling Spider-Man on it. But thankfully Peter's spidey sense kicks in and he avoids the glider. However, the Goblin was not so lucky, getting stuck with the glider and dying. While this death was later retconned, it was an epic and fitting death for the Goblin, and it was so satisfying that Peter was able to get his revenge while maintaining his moral beliefs and not killing his enemy himself. Number 7. Batman vs. DARKSEID. While there were a number of awesome battles in Final Crisis, this was an incredibly significant one. Just when things are looking grim for the heroes, Batman gets his hands on the very radion bullet that was used to kill Orion. The Caped Crusader, who never uses guns, determines that it was his only hope and takes a shot that eventually led to DARKSEID's defeat. Visually, this fight isn't much to speak of, but it shows a huge moment in Batman's history and proves that he is able to set aside his set of morals if the situation is serious enough. All in all, while the fight itself was nothing special, it was an amazing moment to see Batman break his own rule and use a gun in order to save countless lives. What made this fight even more significant is that it seemed to end with the death of Batman at the hand of DARKSEID's Omega beams. Although, as with most superhero deaths, it didn't last long. Which brings me to my next point. Number 6. Batman's battle through time. This one is a bit of a cheat since it's technically not one battle, but it was just such a cool story arc that I couldn't leave it out. Following the apparent death of Batman from DARKSEID's Omega beams, we learned that rather than being killed, Bruce was simply sent back through the time stream and had to battle his way back to the present time. You kinda have to throw logic to the wind when you read this series, but it's just such a fun adventure where you get to see Batman in so many different settings. Definitely give it a read if you haven't, especially if you like period comics. Number 5. Superboy vs. Superboy-Prime. This epic battle, fought over 2 issues, was long and bloody, culminating in an awesome and fitting end. When Superboy-Prime was threatening the safety of the Earth, Superboy was forced to engage him in battle. Even though Connor's not as strong as his Prime counterpart, he's able to hold his own in the battle and eventually defeat his adversary and ruin the plans of Alex Luthor at the cost of his own life. I've touched on this in another video, so I won't go into too much detail here, but it was a really sick fight and really made me like Superboy a whole lot more. Number 4. Batman vs. Bane. This one was awesome, both in terms of a really cool fight and incredibly significant implications for the story. In Batman number 497, Batman had a big fight with his longtime villain, Bane. After single-handedly holding back a prison outbreak from Arkham, Batman retires bruised and beaten to his home. But guess who shows up? frickin' Bane. The two fight, but Batman's too weakened and ends up being defeated. Then Bane lifts Bats up and smashes him onto his knee, breaking Bruce's back. This was awesome, gruesome, and shocking, and also led to the rise of Jean-Paul Valley, who took over the mantle of Batman for a brief but memorable time. Number 3. Batman vs. Superman. I can't imagine this entry is much of a surprise to you, especially after the recent Batman vs Superman movie. In the comics, we see an aged Bruce Wayne living in a dystopian future. After Superman is sent to stop Batman, the two are thrown into an incredible battle full of explosions and gadgets. Eventually, Batman seemingly kills Superman with a kryptonite-tipped arrow, then he dies from an apparent heart attack. But Superman survives, and when he goes to Bruce's funeral, he hears his heartbeat, which was pretty cute, albeit something of a cop-out. This was a particularly important fight since it helped to redefine Batman as the grimmer, more brooding Batman we know and love today. Number 2. The Marvel Universe vs. Thanos. Warning, potential spoilers if the upcoming Infinity Wars follows the comics at all. In the Infinity Gauntlet event, Thanos managed to get his hands on the Infinity Gauntlet and uses it to spread a crazy amount of destruction. He basically goes, "Okay, I want a bunch of people to die now." And then they died. Those that remained fought against him, and the battle was long, hard, and full of casualties, including Captain America, Spider-Man, Hulk, and Thor. The universe is basically saved when Thanos' granddaughter Nebula steals the gauntlet back, and those who had died are resurrected. After Adam Warlock and Silver Surfer get the gauntlet from Nebula, the day is saved. But this isn't the last we see of the Infinity Gauntlet. Number 1. Superman vs. Doomsday. This is one of the most iconic fights in comic history. Since Superman is just so darn powerful, it's hard to find enemies that test his abilities. And Doomsday did just that. As the ultimate killing machine, Doomsday is a being from prehistoric Krypton, who gains incredible adaptive abilities following the experiments of an alien scientist named Bertrand. This allows Doomsday to adapt to any attack that defeats him, making him an incredible adversary for Superman. The two have an epic battle, with Doomsday adapting to everything Superman throws at him. Eventually, the fight culminates in a final effort on both their parts, ending in the defeat of Doomsday and the death of the Man of Steel. Did he stay dead? Of course not. But at the time, it was incredibly impactful, and the battle itself was just so cool that this fight has certainly earned its spot on this list. That's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, remember to throw us a thumbs up down below and subscribe to Top 10 Nerd for more videos. Did I miss your favorite fight? Are you annoyed that Bizarro Superman's not on here? Want a part 2? Let me know in the comments down below. Until next time, I'm Ron McKenzie LaFergie with Top 10 Nerd. Later, nerds.